maximum?
That's right. Now that you know some of the terminology and parts of an ERD, let's see if we can combine them with business rules to see how they influence the diagram. A student can have 0, 1, or several telephone numbers. They may or may not have a telephone number. How to apply this to an ERD? Create a student entity and a separate phone entity. Then create a one-to-many relationship from the student to phone number. This means that one student can have many phone numbers. Then show optional versus mandatory. It is optional for a student to have a phone number, however, it is mandatory that a phone number is connected to a student. Student A graduates from a university, moves out of the country, and cancels her phone service. A year later, student B moves from out of state to that same university. When she signs up for a new phone service, she is assigned the same phone number that student A had canceled. Now there are two different students with the same phone number. How to apply this to an ERD? As a rule, the primary key must be unique and can only appear once in an entity. If the phone number alone is used as the primary key, it can only be used once, and you will get an error if you try to use it for another student. If you use the student ID alone as the primary key, you will only be able to have one phone number per student. To solve this issue, you will need to use a composite primary key. This uses a combination of student ID and phone number to create a unique identifier. At any given time, a student can either be an undergraduate student or a graduate student. They can also be at one time an undergraduate student and then become a graduate student. Depending on the type of student they are, we need to collect specific information that applies only to that type of student. How to apply this to an ERD? We need to create 3 separate entities: students, undergraduate, and graduate. The student entity will hold the information that is common to both types of students, such as names, addresses, etc. The undergraduate entity will hold the data that is only applicable to undergraduate students, such as the high school they graduated from and their high school GPA. The graduate entity will hold the information that is only applicable to the graduate students, such as the undergraduate university, major, and undergraduate GPA. This will allow you to track information that is specific to a type of student without taking up extra space for the students this rule doesn't apply to. One student can take many courses, and at the same time, one course can be taken by many students. This is determined during registration. How to apply this to an ERD? You need to create a many-to-many relationship. If you were to try and express a many-to-many relationship using only 2 tables, you would get an error message. This is impossible. The way to properly create a many-to-many relationship is by using a bridge table, creating a one-to-many relationship between each main table and the bridge table. When we introduce a bridge table, in this case, the registration table, we can combine the data from both tables while still keeping it organized and uniquely identified. Now let's see if you can apply this knowledge to your business situation.
I think I can do this. I will create entities for each table I need. Then I will write in all of the attributes I need for each entity. Then I will use unique identifiers for primary keys, which will allow me to form relationships. I will use crow's foot notation to show cardinality, and then I will have an excellent diagram. After that, how hard could it be to build a database?
Wow, it looks like you've got the right idea. Now let's see how your finished ERD will look.